Social Studies. 8. Early humans. 8. Early humans. In this chapter, we will learn about tools, houses, and clothes of early humans. Discovery of fire. Beginning of agriculture. Domestication of animals. Invention of wheel. And do MCQs. Fill in the blanks. WH questions on our life skills. Long ago, early humans lived in jungles. The jungles were full of big and small animals. Some animals were bigger than the early man. The early humans had to move from one place to another in search of food. They were food gatherers. They did not know how to cook food. They ate fruits and roots of the plants. Sometimes they would even kill small animals with stones and eat their flesh raw. Tools. After many years, they managed to tie a sharp stone to a stick. They used it as a spear. Then it was easy for them to kill animals from a distance. This spear also protected them from big animals. The early man became the hunter. Later, they started making tools from the bones of animals. Homes. Early humans wanted to protect themselves from hot and cold weather. They discovered the caves and took shelter in them. The caves protected them from wild animals. The caves became the first homes for human beings. Activity. Can you name these tools of the early humans? Clothes. Early human beings had no clothes to wear. They covered their body using leaves and barks of trees and skins of animals. Discovery of fire. There were fires in the jungles, especially during the dry summer season. The early man was afraid of the fire. He noticed that even the big wild animals were afraid of fire. Early humans took many years to learn about the uses of fire. They did not know how to make a fire. They kept the fire burning by adding dry twigs and leaves. One day they noticed that rubbing hard stones together can produce a spark of fire. It was a great discovery. The early man took hundreds of years to learn about the uses of fire. They used fire for lighting up and also for heating the caves. The fire also kept the wild animals away. Perhaps one day when early man was cutting the flesh of animal, it accidentally fell into the fire. It got roasted. The early man took the piece out and found that it was softer and tastier than the raw meat. Thus, they started cooking their food. The discovery of fire brought many changes in the life of the early man. Early farmers. The early man used to eat fruits like mangoes and throw away the seeds. After some time, some of these seeds grew into plants. This gave him the idea that plants can grow in soft soil. So, early humans began to collect seeds and sowed them on soft stretches of land. Many of them grew into plants. This is how they became food producers. Beginning of agriculture. After many years, early man learned to use stone and bone for digging the soft land. This was probably the first method of plowing the land. He also developed a plow with wooden sticks. In the beginning, the early man pulled the plow himself and later he trained animals to pull the plow. This was the beginning of agriculture. Animal rearing. Early humans tamed animals like goats, sheep, cows, buffaloes, and horses. These animals gave him milk, meat, and skin. Dogs were used for hunting and keeping the animals and birds away from his fields. Sheep was reared for wool. Horses and asses were used for riding and carrying loads. Did you know? Bhimbetka is a place near Bhopal that has many caves which have paintings done by the early humans. The early man had to look after the fields and domesticated animals. Thus, he had to stay near the fields. Early humans built tent-like huts with stones, tree branches, and animal skins. Slowly, small villages came into being. Many small villages developed near the rivers. With a settled life, the early man had some free time. He started painting pictures of animals, plants, and hunting scenes in caves. The early man made pots from clay and used them for storing leftover food grains. Means of transport. Early humans saw logs of wood floating on water. This gave them an idea to make rafts, which were the means of early transport. On seeing the hollow tree trunks floating, they tied many trunks together to make a raft. This helped them to move heavy loads easily. Invention of the wheel. It was difficult for the early man to carry heavy loads on his back and travel on the land. So, they made a cart without wheels. It was called a sledge. But it was difficult to pull a sledge on uneven surfaces. Early humans saw round pieces of tree trunks rolling down the slopes and made wheels. They fitted round logs of the tree trunks to their carts. They were probably the first wheels. Then the carts could move easily on the uneven ground. Thus, traveling became easier and faster. Did you know? Dogs was perhaps the first animal to be trained. Later, the early humans invented the potter's wheel to make pots with clay. Much later, humans found some stones had metal which oozed out when melted. Iron and copper were probably the first metals discovered. They made sharp tools with iron. The discovery of metals was another big leap towards progress. Man continued to make progress and make their lives easier and happier. Very soon, new means of transport were developed like bicycle, tonga, scooter, car, bus, train, ship, and aeroplane. Different means of communication were also developed. These inventions made human life easier and comfortable. New words. Plow, a tool drawn by animals to turn the soil. Sledge, a framework which slides on two strips of wood or metal. Raft, a flat structure made of logs. Man, all human beings. Recap. Long ago, early humans lived in jungles. They were food gatherers. Early humans discovered fire by rubbing two stones together. Early humans began to grow crops. Early man took many years to learn about the uses of fire. The early man used to eat fruits like mangoes and throw away the seeds. Early man tamed animals such as goats, sheep, cows, fellows, pigs, and horses. Rafts were used to travel on water. Early humans invented the wheel that made traveling easier.